What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, we went through all of the tower-type defenses, or all of the spammable tower-type defenses anyway, in Dungeon Defenders 2 versus Chaos 8. And now it's time to start looking at some other things. And, of course, the Dryad is a fan favorite in DD2. And, you know, the Moss Hornet's nest, them bees, they have varied so greatly over the life of DD2. They've been the most powerful thing in the game. They've been god-awful terrible with just awful AI. And now they're getting back to a mediocre ground and definitely much more usable. Now, the bees are pretty damn awesome. There's just no doubt about it. But against Chaos 8, of course, we have those spiders. Now, one of the benefits the bees have is a huge natural range. Just using the range gambit, you don't need to add any more range to these Hornets' nest. And to be honest with you, if you do add more range, it actually makes them a touch worse, because the deal with the bees is you got travel time. So if they've got a large area of effect, say like I had a bee right here, and then you've got an enemy right here, and then you've got another enemy, say, down over here, those enemies are going to be in range without adding any range at all. However, the bee is going to have to travel back and forth between the various targets. So let's go ahead and build it out here. We are going to bring along a world tree, of course, as is necessary. And that's what I'm going with on my tree. Now, what do we want to do for bees? This is not a projectile defense, so we do not need Piercer Servo. So a defense rate, just like every other damaging defense, is a huge benefit to have. So generic relic number 1, anti-melee, anti-chaos, and defense rate servo is where we are going for these bees. And what else can we do? We've got defense rate, and we don't need any more range. So, of course, the natural go-to is going to be the double stack. So destruction and mass destruction. Well, what do we want to do additionally? Now, I know some folks will be instinctively wanting to go with Deadly Strikes to get big range. Trust me, that travel time with the bees, it's not worth going with the range. So stay away from that. One thing that we can do that's very easy is just add in Vampiric Empowerment. It's one of the not wonderful defense power shards, being based off of the defense's defense health. However, it's a third shard slot. You can really throw anything you want in there, and we're going to give it just a little bit more juice right there. Now, of course, we are going to bring along the Boostara, and then I think we're going to have to go with that Destructive Pylon. Just the usual old setup, not really using it for anything. It's just there to hold that Destructive Pylon. So, let's see. Where do we want to put our tree? If we go right down in the middle here, we can actually get away with only using one tree, and that will be just not terrible. Now, remember, the deal is the spiders. You want to get away from the spider webs. So if we go with something like right here in the middle, the spider webs are not going to be able to reach. And we've got 600 DU on this map. This map is relatively easy to do. However, I do think just because it's Chaos 8, it's still going to be a good test for what these bees can do. We got relatively straight lanes with, not a whole lot of interactivity going on. Now, of course, I don't want to use any crowd control. So just testing the power of the defense all by itself. We're going to go with something like that. We'll put 6 bees right there with a Destructive Pylon. And then I think we'll go with just a Boostara right here next to the Destructive Pylon. We haven't even used half the DU yet, so, I mean, this map would be super duper easy to squeeze in some crowd control, there's no doubt, but we are not gonna. So, let's see, let's just throw it all down here. We might actually be able to go with a little bit more here. We'll have to see exactly how this is going to work out. They're cheap, the bees don't cost much, that is for certain. Let's see, we can go one more. That's still going to leave us a little left over. But let's go ahead and get our Destructive Pylon down, and we'll get our Boostara down. Now, this is one where, did I want to throw in buff beams? I mean, I didn't place them like I was going to be throwing in buff beams, but it looks like I'll be able to get coverage here, no problem. So let's go ahead and throw in some buff beams as well. We're going to go with that right there. And we'll just put it on just this one stack right here. So we'll go with a buff beam just like that. That's going to be our 600. Not too bad, really. I mean, I could realistically get rid of a couple of bees and go with another one. But I think we will just check it out and see how it goes. So let's chillax it out and see how this holds up. Now, of course, this is just looking at the raw power. So no crowd control. Adding crowd control to any build, playing actively on the Dryad, of course, is going to increase the effectiveness by a third, essentially, as it gives it a third bee per nest. However, just want to look at the raw power, no Dryad, no crowd control, just to see how this is going to hold up. And it actually looks like it's just wrecking. Absolutely wrecking. So the bees were changed in updates in 2021 to fix some of the AI problems, and definitely a much more usable defense now than it used to be. Ooh, that one pushed through a little bit. However, didn't have to intervene. The Berserker got smacked. It just took a minute. Let's see what we got here. Actually looking pretty darn solid here. And, of course, the bees will hit the flyers as well, so we can just wait for those flyers to come into range, and the bees will get all sorts of uppity on those guys. Now, pretty easy, pretty smooth sailing there, so let's go ahead and jump on forward to the final wave and check out what these bees can do once they're upgraded a little bit and into wave number 5. Here we go. All right, and here we go into wave number 5. Now, as far as all of these versus Chaos 8 videos go, this has been the roughest one so far. The bees still are a little bit suspect. They've got the single target damage, but there's something a little weird, it feels like, with their targeting. I have had to intervene with Berserkers multiple times throughout the match so far, and it just not as good as using one of those projectile defenses. Now, obviously, I'm not playing active on the Dryad. That's I'm missing 1 bee per nest. Additionally, no crowd control in. Now, the difference there is those projectile defenses, you can get away with that, where with the bees, it just doesn't feel as good. Now, definitely still quite usable defense. If you like the Dryad and you like using those Hornets nests, by all means, spam them up. But you might want to consider either playing actively on the Dryad or even play actively on the Dryad and adding in a little bit of crowd control. So we'll watch it here. I'm assuming we will probably get a Berserker or 2. And then additionally, the Cobalt Flyers, it did not target them very well. So it did hit them eventually, but they got uncomfortably close before the bees jumped in and got the job done. So something a little bit suspect with the AI still against these bees. And to be honest with you, it's been a huge improvement over what it used to be, but the bees have been sketch for several years now. So a fan favorite defense, and it was so broken OP at one point. Trendy and then Chromatic slapped the bees down, and they've just never quite been the same as they used to be. We got these assassins like crazy. Now, additionally, although the single target damage is there, the bosses are not burning anywhere near as fast. Now, the bosses are burning, don't get me wrong, but they're not burning anywhere near as fast as they were in any of those projectile tower videos. We'll take a look at Malthus here, and as you see, it's just kind of a slow burn. No big, massive chunks of damage coming off of it, but still got the job done, still able to get the win, and still a super productive defense. However, it's just not going to be a meta in Chaos 8. There's just no doubt about it. Many Dryad fans will instantly hit that dislike button. By all means, have at it. But, you know, the truth is the truth. It's just not what it was at one stage way back in the day. But that's it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.